Morning guys, up and out on Friday morning. Got out a little earlier this morning, not much earlier but a little earlier. Tried to beat the old sun heat. We had a big storm last night. It was actually good, loads of rain. And well, I say a big storm, more rain than anything. I mean, we had some thunder and that, but it wasn't major like we normally get, but we sure need that rain. I think we got some more coming today because stuff is drying up, and it's not good for the ground. It's not good for us because then things start to die, and your grass starts looking crap. Plants start looking crap. The water supply doesn't get replenished. So yeah, don't ever moan about the rain, because it could really do with some rain. But kind of takes me to my subject, which involves the garden. But it's about getting rid of those things that are toxic around you. Doing something about that. And the reason I say garden is because if you look at a garden and you're growing beautiful flowers in that garden, and you planted them, you're looking after them, you're watering them, and they're growing quite nicely, starting to sprout, starting to grow. You fertilise it, you're looking after it, doing everything positive you can towards that plant or that flower, so that it has the best chance of surviving and growing and getting strong and finding its way through the soil and up out into the sun. But then all of a sudden, you got the weeds starting to grow. And the weeds, they ain't going away. They're invasive. They're looking for the same foods and nutrients and care and everything that you're giving the flower. But as they grow, they start to take more and more nutrient from the flower, kind of sucking it dry, stealing moisture, stealing the fertilizer that you put down for it. And as that grows and grows and grows, guys, it's going to start stealing the sun. It's going to start surrounding that flower, and it's going to start blocking that sun out. Now, as the sun tries to penetrate through and keep that flower growing so that it can keep going, getting stronger, those weeds are going to grow even stronger, because them too are getting the sunlight, until in the end you got yourself a dead flower and strong weeds. They've overtaken. Now you're out buying a new flower because that one's dead now, and then you decide to clean the bed up, pull all the weeds out, start again. It's too late. Flower's dead. So if you look at that flower like your mind, that flower, if you give yourself the right thoughts, the positive thoughts, your mind will grow in a positive direction. But if you're not aware, like the weeds, if you don't become aware of those weeds and what they're doing, the negatives are going to grow and grow, and they end up just drowning out your positives. And now you've got a negative mind, and it just perpetuates the negatives unless you become aware and you start weeding. It comes down to listening to yourself, seeing what thoughts you're thinking, not taking them as truth, weeding out negative people, those people around you that may be moaning all the time or pulling you in the wrong directions as far as the negatives. You've got to weed it all out. The first sign is becoming aware, because if you're not aware, then it just overtakes and things grow and things get worse. The one thing that they asked Buddha to sum up was the teachings in one word. He said awareness. What while you're aware of something's not quite right or something's off, you're in an advantage. It's when you're not aware and those things start to grow like the weeds. And then they become unattended and then they just get to do what they want. And they end up drowning out the good, the flower. So be aware. Be aware of what you're telling yourself too. If you go around telling yourself you're stupid or you're silly or I can't or I should or I have to's and all that, all swear words in my book, you're causing the weeds. That's the weeds. There's a lot of different types of weeds in your mind and in the landscape. There's no different. Just because there's a toxic person doesn't mean it ain't a weed. You've got to pull the weed. Clear the weed bed and the flower flourishes because there's no competition. There's nothing there. It's stronger. And before long, if you keep watering that flower until it's at its full potential and growing nice and strong, a few weeds ain't going to make a damn bit of difference because it'll drown it out. Now the flower's stronger than the weed. But you've got to keep weeding. Because if you don't, it'll grow and start overtaking. So if you're out and you look at a flower bed and you see flowers struggling and there's weeds all around there, pull the weeds, just like this. If you're in a spot where you're constantly thinking negative thinking and telling yourself you can't, that's a weed. Do your weeding, guys. Stay the course. Namaste.